Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Robert Fedoruk. It is so good to have you here. This is another Go With The Flow. This is the video series where I try and teach you a little bit more about Flow Designer with as little edits as possible. In this episode, I'm going to cover 3 different ways that you can send emails from Flow Designer and the cost and benefits of doing each way. I do have a favorite, which I'll expose to you in the show. So as you can see, I have a little sample flow up here. We're not going to worry too much about what the flow actually does. I'm just using this as a place to show you the flow actions in question. So when Flow Designer first came out, we had send email as an action. So let's take a look at that. And send email has all the things you would expect out of sending an email. And its closest equivalent is the email icon. If you just want to send an ad hoc email from, say, an incident, it wants to know a target record. Obviously, we've just put in the incident that triggers this flow. It wants to know whether it should include a watermark or not. And you can put in a subject and an HTML formatted body. So what benefits does this particular flow action have? Actually, it's got one of the better ways to access CC and BCC. If you're used to using traditional notifications, you'll know that it's not impossible to add CCs and BCCs. It's just really annoying. So if you absolutely positively have to have precise CC and BCC, using the send email action might be worth it for you. I also think that the send email is nicer to format just because we have access to all the things in the flow. So we could just go to our data panel here and pick whichever data from whatever activity and just drop it into the to's, the CC's, the subject line, and the body, as opposed to that weird $ field name format that we all had to learn when we were dealing with conventional notifications. But there's a reason why send email is still my least favorite way of sending email from Flow Designer. The reason is that you don't have access to email templates in the same way notifications do. And this is a huge pain in the butt for customers who want to have logos and fancy formatting on their notifications from ServiceNow. This is especially important for those organizations that are sending notifications outside their own walls. Every CSM customer in existence, for example. Also, there's no way to invoke a mail script. I don't know, maybe you can use this script on the body, but it certainly doesn't work like a mail script, and that can also be a huge pain in the butt. Another thing is it has no obvious access to attachments. Possibly you can add activities to the flow to get attachments, but I have yet to discover a way to get those and then attach them to this action in any rational way. And the last and probably most important reason why send email is my least favorite way to send notifications from Flow is because it's untraceable. And what I mean by untraceable is that if something goes wrong, where do I expect to find the wrongness? When traditional notifications fail, I know that I go to my traditional notifications. But when you add stuff like send email in Flow Designer or the similar email action in legacy workflow, you'll find yourself in situations where someone says, something's wrong with this notification I got. And so you're doing the right thing, going through your notification records, looking for configuration errors there, when in fact, it was a completely different configuration, being the send email flow action. I like all my configurations to be grouped in the same place, so I prefer methods that allow me to use the base notification table. And the next 2 ways we are going to investigate do exactly that. Okay, the second way to send emails from flows is by triggering an event. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either use the create record action and build out an event record, or you can use the video that I just did previously in this playlist. Link is going to be in the description below. You'll also see something popping up in the top right-hand corner where we created a create event custom action in Flow Designer. And this allows us to just invoke the event and feed the parameters, and then that gets sent to a notification. So the benefits of this is that you can still use your conventional notifications, which may have already been defined, which is awesome. I do find it's a little bit obscured when you're using event-driven notifications because the flow triggers an event, the event hits the event queue, and then the notifications detect that the event has happened, so there's a chain of things that happen that sometimes feels a little bit invisible to an admin. It's also going to require a developer familiar with flow and flow actions to create that custom flow action for you. And I guess the only other disadvantage you can find here is that it's still hard to get to the CC and BCCs. Again, not impossible, just difficult, but because you'll be using traditional notifications, you can use mail scripts to alleviate that. The last way to send emails from Flow Designer, and my personal favorite, is the send notification action. What I love about this is that enables you to use your predefined notifications. No need to create an event in the middle in which to fire. You can just say, fire this notification. So the action is send notification. The record obviously is the record that we use for the trigger. And then it just asks you, which notification do you want to fire? Now, there's something you have to remember here, because if I just look in the list of notifications, even if I black this out, and I look in the list of notifications, I only have one of them, which is silly because I actually have tons of notifications built on the incident table. So how come it's only showing me one? So here I am on that notification record. And the secret to which notifications will show up in a Flow Designer send notification action is this send when. If you're an old timer like me, you'll remember that notifications were record inserted or updated, or an event is fired. But in the later versions of ServiceNow, they have this other options, which is triggered. And when you define a notification as send when equals triggered, then those notifications are going to show up in your Flow Designer. Okay, why is this my favorite? A, it leverages conventional notifications, which means that it's traceable. If something goes wrong with this notification, I look in the notifications. Secondly, because it's conventional notifications, I have access to email scripts and email templates. Again, essential for those who are sending highly formatted emails outside their four walls. And there you have it, folks. 3 ways to send notifications from Flow Designer. My personal favorite, again, is send notification. Send email is usable. I would say the only time I would fool around with that is if I really had to have a high degree of nuance in CC and BCC. Thanks for watching another Go with the Flow. I hope to see you on the next one. If you're a ServiceNow expert looking for better opportunities, but maybe your resume or LinkedIn profile isn't doing you justice, reach out to me via LinkedIn or the email pictured here, as I offer both career coaching and recruitment services. And if you're a ServiceNow customer or partner, you heard that right. Robert Fedorik now does ServiceNow recruiting. With a 1,500 subscriber YouTube channel and mailing list, and thousands of LinkedIn followers, let's make sure your open positions get first go at the prodigious pool of ServiceNow resources. Reach out via the email picture here.